Did it snow this morning where you were?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. It was snowing. Yes.
Yes. Can't
Yeah.
believe what a
We're almost at the, if it was to snow, a quarter of an inch, so 0.4, if that's a quarter, no, it's a little more than a quarter. If it was to snow 0.4 of an inch day after tomorrow, that would be the latest we've ever had measurable snow in New Hampshire.
really?
Yeah.
Since it's been recorded?
Yes. Since
Yeah.
it's been recorded in the 1800s. Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
You wonder, it's like, I wonder if like the reduced, not to pin everything, onto traffic and pollution and stuff like that, but I wonder if any of this pollution, the reduction has contributed to that in any way whatsoever. But I'm no scientist, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just
I don't
weird
know either.
for it to
So
happen now.
good point. Good point. Will people be able to like type in and
Yeah. Yeah. Can you see it?
where will I see it? We're live.
Oh yeah. Oh, we are live. Hi, everybody. We're just chatting about the weather. Hi, everybody. Welcome to tonight's Spiritual Cafe Live, where we walk together and support each other on the path to becoming more spiritually aware, inspired, and enlightened. I think I got that mixed up, but that's okay.
It works.
Yeah, it was close. So tonight's guest is Dorothy Morgan. She's the New Hampshire astrologer, and I know you and I have been on radio quite a bit over the past 10 years, and we used to talk on the radio all the time. So this is this is so usual for us to do this. But Dorothy and I were chatting recently, and she said, next week's a really big week astrologically, and I said, we need to talk about it. So what's going on?
All right. And I've announced this to a lot of people on Facebook. So, oh, good. I see.
Hi, Renee.
Hi, Renee. Yay, somebody's there. And I said they could ask questions if they had questions while we were live.
Good.
What's going on this week is we have almost everybody, a lot of people have heard of Mercury retrograde, right?
Yeah.
And it's not retrograde, not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
No. We have 3 other planets that are retrograde this week. So, hi, Mary. And so that is what's going on this week. And we're already feeling it. We felt it last week. And we're going to feel it for quite a long time. And so I'm going to explain it and, each one. And Laura's going to ground me and help me to keep it really simple for the non-astrologers, right?
Because I'm one of those people.
I know.
I'm a non-astrologer.
But my way, if you know me and if you don't know me, I'm going to tell you now, I might say the astrology words, and I will, because I have to. Hi, Diane. But I will explain what it means for you and me, how I'll tell you about what it is, some of the troubles that we have with this stuff that's going on right now, and then how we can use it and how we can make, we all have free will and choices, and you don't have to listen to anything. But it's good. It's good. So what we have this morning, and if you're on the West Coast, it was on Sunday. But here in New England, the early this morning, just after midnight, Saturn went retrograde. So, and we have 3 of them this week. Saturn retrogrades in Aquarius, Venus retrogrades in Gemini, and Jupiter retrogrades in Capricorn. Now, retrograde's typical and it's normal. Everybody knows Mercury retrograde. We're always hearing about it. It's not the cause of all of our problems, but we can blame things if we want. But right now, planets retrograde regularly. And so this is common. But with what we have going on with the pandemic and just looking at the energy of what we had before this week in May, and this is the week of May 11, things are moving along pretty quickly. And, last year when I was creating my 2020 forecast and for the year ahead, and I looked at this week, up to this week, I knew there would be a lot of action and movement, something like growing, and we all had opportunities to grow and do a lot of expansion. But we all know what happened. And so that may have shut us down, but that didn't stop, news from growing, conspiracies growing, truth all the virus growing, so many different things were getting bigger. It just wasn't what any of us particularly would have wanted. And so in hindsight, I could see some of these things, but that's what hindsight is 2020. I know. I'm sure that one's all wore out already. And so
it makes sense though. So
I know it made good sense.
yes.
Tomfoolery, that thing you posted was wonderful. That little story. Back to Saturn. So Saturn in Aquarius, just before Saturn entered Aquarius back in, I think it was March. Saturn in Aquarius, Saturn is about boundaries, right? And restrictions and rules and regulations. So write those keywords down. This will help you put it all together.
Okay.
It moved into the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is about humanitarian things. It's about large groups. It's about society. It's about freedom. And just before it entered the sign of Aquarius a number of weeks ago, most of the nations, countries, and states were shutting us down. So our freedoms were immediately taken away from us. They were taken, some of the freedoms were taken away from us just right away, Saturn in Aquarius. So we're going to have to get used to that energy. But today it goes retrograde. And so today and for the next week, when I was looking at this, back in the fall of last year, I was like, this whole week is the week when things are really going to slow down. And it reminds me of just like being on a subway or a train and somebody pulls that emergency cord, right? And all you hear is the loud screeching of the brakes hitting the rails, and everybody sort of jolts forward and back, and we're all of a sudden suddenly in a dead stop. And that's what it felt like with Saturn entering the sign of Aquarius. And when I saw and going retrograde too, and when I saw all of these planets retrograde for this week, I felt like everything was coming to a full stop. And that's okay, because then it would give us an opportunity to slowly do new things and slowly reevaluate. Because what we do during retrograde energy is reevaluate and go and sort of reflect and go within. Saturn retrogrades every year, and it takes about 4 months or so, 4.5 months for that retrograde period. So what are we going to have with this now over the next few months? So what we're going to do with this one, here it is. It's just going to take us, so it's going to stay retrograde today, so May 11 all the way to July 3rd. It will be in the sign of Aquarius. So what that represents right to begin with in our own current global national situation is slowly getting back some of those Aquarian qualities, a little bit of freedom, a little bit of how can we figure out how to get together in groups, right? How are we going to be able to socialize? It's giving us, we're slowly going to be able to work our way back into that. And then on that point in July 3rd, it moves back into the sign of Capricorn, and it will stay in retrograde in Capricorn until September 29. And what that means, before you ask me what that means,
You know me.
What is we have?
What does it mean? Dorothy?
What it means is we're going to be seeing, the authorities, the government, and all of the people that are in charge, as far as out in the world. We're going to see them trying to figure out how to rebuild, right? How can they rebuild? Mm-hmm. And they're going to have to be doing that, and that's the outward picture of it. But I want you to think about what do you need to rebuild, right? Mm-hmm. And what is starting to not, what have you discovered is not working up to this point? And so we're going to have all of this opportunity in this whole time period to work on slowly rebuilding things that all of a sudden have fallen apart. Now we have to rely on other people for certain things, but do we? And this is always where it comes back to a personal process. So we know more when we look at where this is in your own astrology chart, but that's what makes it even more personal. But overall, we have this opportunity to slowly start to rebuild some things. All of 2020 is going to be like this because the outer planets, when they retrograde, they take their time. So that's it for Saturn retrograde. There's always more. I could talk for an hour just about each one of these things, but I won't. So can I clarify anything? You're always good at asking me the questions.
Okay, so just to sort of sum up what I'm hearing from you. So this week, things are going to really slow down quite a bit.
Mhm.
So if there's anything that you started to put into play, is
Mhm.
going to be there's going to be some roadblocks to it, or you just can expect things to kind of slow down quite a bit. It's not going to progress as quickly as you'd like. Is that what I heard?
Indeed. Good job, Laura. Woohoo!
Yay! All right.
Well, it's like your work. It's like your work. Well, I know somebody, and all right. So what's with the red crayon? It's like that, or whatever.
Yeah.
In my head.
So
Somebody knows something about someone with a red crayon. I wouldn't be surprised because I'm not a medium.
you do well. You say you're not a medium, but yeah, you are a medium.
So funny. I was telling Laura a story a few minutes ago before we went live, and
Yeah.
I was working with a client today and just popping through the astrology chart and just advancing the chart to certain different dates to look at different things to give this client timelines and stuff. And I stop on this one date and she's like, and both her parents are passed. And I stop on this one date and the lady goes, oh, that's my dad's birthday. He's passed now. And she started talking about him. And I'm like, aw. And then we went on a few minutes later and I advanced the chart speaking about something else. And she's like, oh, that's my mom's birthday. How weird is that? And I didn't tell you this one, I even went to another date because we have some transits going on later in the year, Mars and Aries. And she goes, oh, that's my son. And I'm like, a lot of people saying hello. Yeah, Karen, right?
Yeah. Karen
right.
said, me too, not a medium. Yeah, right. I don't believe it for a second.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. I'm going to jump ahead to Jupiter in Capricorn and then go back to Venus. Jupiter goes retrograde on Thursday. Eastern time is 10:32 in the morning. So, and the reason I wanted to jump and skip Venus for a minute is because Jupiter's in Capricorn, and I was just saying a lot of words about Capricorn. So Jupiter and Saturn are kind of near each other, but they don't catch up this year until the very end in December. So they're going over the same area of the astrology. And this is why Capricorn area is such a pivotal placement right now in the astrology world and in your chart. Capricorn representing, like I just said, structures, government, how I feel secure in the world. It brings up fears too, because if we don't feel secure, then we're feeling fearful. And if we can look at our fears, this is how we can use these retrograde energies as well. We can look at our fears and address them. That's Pluto in Capricorn too. He's already retrograde. We have an opportunity to really grow and expand beyond our fears and our dependency on extreme outside sources, like the government. No matter what they're doing, we can still manage what we're doing and feel secure and safe. And these are really important processes. So Jupiter will retrograde again on Thursday, and he's been moving through this sign since the end of last year. Jupiter is a very benefic and beneficial planet, but one of the things it can do is expand things beyond our capacity, right? It's like blowing a balloon up too far, pop. So that's Jupiter. So while it's beautiful and it's helpful and it always wants to give you a hand up, sometimes it gives us too much of a hand up and it expands so much, it shows us everything that's wrong and things will crumble. That's what's happened with Jupiter in Capricorn over these last few months, 5-6 months. It's just expanded it's expanded things beyond the capacity to manage it. So it's just like us. I'm sitting here with like stretchy britches on, right? It's just like us not moving a lot, but we're consuming way too many calories, and we have got to unbutton the britches. We've grown outside our britches. We're going to buy new ones or get stretchy ones. This is kind of what Jupiter will do, expands everything. But in that sign of Capricorn, it is showing us the overreach of certain things. I'm going to say government, the overreach of, or the breaking down of old systems that aren't working. Jupiter is our belief system. Mm-hmm. What do we believe now? Again, your Capricorn area is being impacted by this. So for the next 4 months, while Jupiter is retrograde, we'll have an opportunity to, again, more information on seeing how we can put some of the pieces back together of what is remaining. Okay. And that's I know that sounds really heavy.
It does. It does. But so when you said Jupiter goes in retrograde Thursday, you said?
It does. Yep.
So does that mean any loosening up of restrictions that are going into place this week may not stick? Is that what it could indicate? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it could. Yeah,
Maybe.
it can.
The immediate influence that's happening here, you know.
Yeah, and yes, it can. It can mean that because because everything that's just been overinflated, and again, what we depend on. I don't want to make this political, but how we depend on our government to protect us and keep us safe, because that's their job in a bigger picture of things.
Mm-hmm.
How have they done a good job? Have they done a good job? And I mean, of course, there's always going to be varying opinions. So we have to look at it that way. But on a personal level, I want you to look at it, because I'm not an activist, so I'm not going there. But some people are, and some people will. But personally, I just want you to look at where you think it is you still have some solid structure, during your scary, fearful moments. Who is it that you call that knows they're going to ground you and help you feel safe, even though you're just in a moment? You're going to reach out to them. So it's finding that safety and that security within yourself and with those people that it's really important for you to connect with, so they make you feel okay and feel safe and secure. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah. And then our beliefs. I have a sip of water.
She's getting ready. Here we go.
Here we go.
All right. Hi, Manya.
There she is. Hi, Manya. But what do you believe in? Jupiter is what I've always believed. And here's another piece of it too. We got to focus on our careers as well. So those of us who know we have a career or public image, whatever, because that's Capricorn as well. That's Saturn. That's also Saturn when it gets back to Capricorn. That's Jupiter in Capricorn, Pluto in Capricorn now too. All about this has shown a lot of people, like, do I really want this career? Is this career for me? What is this doing for me? What is my job like stable? Because a lot of people have become unemployed. So this might really inspire some people to either get more education, find a job that feels more secure, or it can also inspire people to let go of these jobs that they thought was their foundation and their solid piece, and then go and rely on themselves and become self-employed entrepreneurs, Jupiter and Capricorn. So we can work through that over these months coming up, because things aren't going to open up really fast. Again, this whole week before, we knew about this pandemic, this whole week and the months after this week, all of May and June, July, I mean, it looked at a period of take the beginning of the year, build as much as you possibly can towards whatever it is that your goals are, and then take these 3-4 months to reevaluate, reassess, and work and make the things really, really solid that feel good to you, and let all those other things go. But again, this pandemic has created it so a lot of things have already fallen away. The universe has cleared the deck for a lot of people. So now's the time to feel brave and feel secure if you want to step into something entrepreneurial. And you'll know, your own world will tell you what's going on for you in that regard.
It's true. I mean, I know a lot of people who they're rethinking the whole way that they work. They may not be changing careers, but definitely changing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and that's true. So what that change looks like to you. I was reading a post on my astrology group the other day, and a woman said somebody was trying to let her know that being an entrepreneur would be a really good thing for her, and she said, well, it just didn't feel right to her, so she stayed in the job she was in, and because she liked it well enough and it paid her good, and instead of taking the advice of somebody who told her to go be a self-employed person. And she's really happy she listened to herself, because she stayed in that job because she knew it felt secure, because through all of this, she's making it fine. She knows as a self-employed person, she wouldn't be. And my response is excellent. You should always listen to yourself first. Always.
Exactly. Just because the energy is there in your chart doesn't necessarily mean it's if you want to do it, then the energy is there to support you. If you don't want to do it, or if you don't feel it's the right thing for you at this time, then you don't, right?
That's correct. Yeah. And I mean, it could just have meant that she had a new project at work that was going to like elevate her in the company or something. I mean, who really knows? I don't know her chart, but it was just, you know, one of those interesting things. So it's always important to know that these energies are here and you're going to use them any way that you want. And so the final thing, and this is the big news, because Venus only retrogrades every 19 months. So it's been a long time that she has been retrograde. And so it surely retrogrades in 5 different signs in her whole 8-year cycle. And so she's retrograde on, where is it? It's split between time zones. May 12, if you're on the west coast of the US, 11:45 p.m. And if you're on the east coast of the US, she is retrograde at 2:45 a.m. I'm sorry for the other 2 time zones. You'll have to do the math. The point is, Venus retrogrades in Gemini once every 8 years. So it's been a while since she's been retrograde in this sign. Again, 19 months ago, she was retrograde in Scorpio. So right now, Venus, it's going to feel like Mercury retrograde, because Venus is retrograde in Gemini. Mercury rules Gemini. All right, so she's going to be retrograde. Let me get the dates. Here it is. May 13th to June 24th. And if you know your astrology, it's between 21 degrees of Gemini and 5 degrees of Gemini. So here are the things. Here's some of the things that are going to come up. All these people, all of you guys who live with somebody. I live alone.
Oh boy.
So couples, especially people who are, couples, however you define that, who live together. You've been spending a lot of time together. And so when Venus goes retrograde, it's definitely going to be, the come to Jesus talk. I think I hear people say, I've never said it, but it's just like, we need to talk. Or you're just going to be coming together much more than you ever imagined, right? You ever thought was the case. So I know people need their space, and this is tough times to spend that much time with somebody that, it's just going to help you to recognize. I've stopped myself on that one. It's good to recognize. We will recognize how well we're getting along with our partners, or we're going to recognize that, and I'm saying this with all the love in my heart, I really don't think I like you enough anymore to stay in this relationship. Venus retrograde already, whatever sign it's in, creates the opportunity or the opening for people who are having trouble in their relationships to go in, and right now in Gemini especially, to go and counsel and talk things through, especially if they know it's just a phase they're going through and they really want to stay together. They find a way to communicate with each other. That's Gemini. But some people will just say, I am really all done with you. And that will, and you'll figure out individually how to separate or break up. So, I mean, it's just whatever's going on in your life, right? This isn't everybody. So those are the things that happen here. And even when it comes to really good friends, Venus retrograde gives you these opportunities to hash things out, talk things through. It's very karmic as well when it's retrograde like that. So if you're meeting somebody new at this point in time, a lot of those single sites, I'm only on one, but I'm not even on it, Spiritual Singles. I had a membership years ago, and they're like hitting me up, and they're like 50% off. What are you going to do? You might as well meet somebody online. And I'm like, no. Venus is about to be retrograde. And to me, new connections with people during Venus retrograde are karmic connections. And that's not a negative. It just means whatever you've put out that you're afraid of, if you're not in a relationship, or whatever you put out because you're looking for one, you're going to get that back. So those are good. So they can be easy and fun karmic relationships, or ones where you meet, whatever, and then you work your karma out really fast, and it's done and it's over really quick. So Venus retrograde has a lot to do with that. So with those love relationships, and boy, Again, so many different options, but we're all in different places when it comes to relationships, right?
Yeah.
It's like the box you tick on your taxes. Single, head of household, married, filing single, whatever. It's going to be your gig. It'll be your gig. And so communicating with people, Venus is stationary right now. She isn't retrograde. So she's stationary in the sign of communication. So the communicating with people over these next few weeks while it is retrograde, definitely need to take your time to like make sure you're clear, like you and I are doing. So if I'm understanding what you're saying,
That's
a
what you
good
mean. I know. Yeah. I just feel like there's a lot of that going on already this week. Is a lot of
yes.
people being triggered, and
Yep.
communication's a little wonky, and people.
Mhm.
It's like, I'm done. I can't do this right now. You know.
Yes. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's okay to do that because that's the energy that's present.
Right.
You don't have to force it. Right. And then the money piece of Venus, because Venus is also rules our money. Venus rules what we value and those love relationships, as I've just explained. Excuse me. And it's also our finances. And so that's kind of wonky for a lot of people right now, too.
Yeah.
Not knowing where the income is coming from. Some people are not bothered at all. And some people are, it's just, whatever the gamut of your financial situation is, there's a lot that can be going on here right now with Venus retrograde in Gemini, right? And then if you're into the goddess practices and really into a lot of the very feminine practices, Venus retrograde is, and pretty soon, because she's reached her apex in the sky. She's as far away from the sun as she can be. So she's reached the seventh gate a few weeks back at that new moon, right? And so that's like the seventh chakra. And so basically when she's above the horizon as an evening star, which she has been, every month at the new moon, it would be right there with Venus. So it takes 7 months for the new moon. Every new moon, the moon will conjunct Venus. And so she's reached her apex. We've had the seventh conjunction of moon and Venus. So the seventh gate, crown chakra, and now she's starting her descent. And then she starts to retrograde. And so if you're into the feminine processes and those all those rituals, she's now starting to descend back into Hades, if you follow the whole Persephone story. But it's just a very feminine going back into the self and an understanding of those feminine qualities. And again, since it's Gemini energy, it's about receiving those messages and really feeling what you want to do with that and how you want to take that process. And that'll take months. We won't see her once she goes below the horizon. She'll stay back with the sun and then come out as a morning star, I think 5 or 6 weeks later. So it's going to be a while. She's still in the sky right now, but as a night star. So look up that if you're into those feminine rituals, the female rituals in that way. So it's a lot. That's just this week.
That's just what.
That's just this week.
So let's just say, because I'm right. This is the situation I'm in right now. Everything you've told me, all of a sudden I feel really overwhelmed. I wasn't overwhelmed before. So what should I focus on, like right now? Because I'm just
gonna watch this again and take some notes. Because it'll be on your page and you'll share it tonight.
Go right back. So
the a recap would be, know that this week and over the next few weeks, as the authorities, Saturn, open the doors, we should be smart adults, whether you believe this is a big thing or not, this virus is a big thing or not. We should be smart adults, treat people with respect, and start getting back out there slowly. We should not go back out really fast. We just shouldn't. And with all of these retrogrades, it just things soon the numbers should start going down. And it will take months for the numbers for us to really see the numbers going down of all of those things. So that is it for like global or national. Take your time, Take your time. And for you and me personally, it's about taking our time, doing the things that don't create fear, doing the things that help us to smother fear, not even smother it, but just say, no, I'm not afraid of that. And just like not smother, but work with it, work through it. So you feel more of an authority at whatever that fear is, that fear that comes up. Because Pluto's involved in all of this, and Pluto brings up things from the deepest, darkest depths. And so we are all in a process of figuring out really what our root core is and our root belief. That wasn't even in the nutshell either. Sorry.
Really? They've said it more. So our own deep fears are coming up and being challenged right now.
They are. Yeah. And it's just so you can see, what is it that makes you feel secure? What do you do to make yourself feel secure? You look at what you have. What it comes back to is gratitude. But I don't know where gratitude is in the astrology chart. I actually haven't thought about that, but it's just about being really grateful for what you have, and then your own perspective. So know that, from where you are, you're safe, you're okay, everything's good. So you have to work on that. But the personal pieces of this and how each of us, I can give you those generic, and it's general information, what we're saying here, but it's just more important to know where it is in your own astrology to give you the specifics. So that's really what it comes down to in a lot of ways.
So it'd be really helpful for someone to connect with you personally for
a
session.
Yeah, but if you know where your Capricorn is, just know that that's the area of your chart. Renee's been walking the dog for hours. No fear. Well, here's something too about Capricorn. Capricorn is minimalist. And even though many of us have been kind of stuck at home. I have been. I don't have a dog, but I have been walking more than I ever walk just because I need to get out. And it's a minimalist. So if we find routines and patterns, Saturn, then we could actually, slender, get a little more, lose weight, if you will, because that's what and Jupiter's retrograde. So Jupiter, instead of expanding, wants to start contracting.
Oh, thank God.
I know. There's a lot of things right now that are going to contract. And again, it's just the inward journey. A lot of things. We're going to redo things. We're going to really take our time getting back out into the world. And to me, that's what's really important, is that we are just be responsible in however you think, and just, let other people do what they want, and focus on what you want. That's really important too. Yeah.
Great. So we're just working with the energy rather than working against it. If we really pushed really hard to make things work this week, it's just not going to happen, right?
Yeah. You have to let the stuff just come to you, and you just have to find your routine and know what's always worked for you, And who doesn't know that? That may change from time to time, but we do always know what's working for us. Yeah.
Now, Jan says she's a Capricorn. How does this affect her?
That's going to be a big year. It'll be a big year, but there's 30 whole degrees in Capricorn. So we'd have to see where you are exactly in that Capricorn area. But if your sun sign is Capricorn, it means it will amplify the things I said for the most part in regards to Saturn and Jupiter, because your sun sign is Capricorn. That means the ego is here to learn about how to be fearless and strong and an authority and in charge and, solid. And you're here to learn those things. We're all here to learn it in some way, but Capricorn sun is. And so we're looking to, you're going to feel this just a little bit more because it will be a little more personal for you. But then again, some people have their moon in Capricorn, other planets in Capricorn. So again, that's why the online generic zodiac stuff saying, if you're this sign, this is you. If you're this sign, this is you. It's vaguely accurate.
Right.
Yeah.
So she said January 1st, sunshine Cancer? What does that mean? I don't understand, Jan. Is that your rising sign? Maybe hopefully she'll answer. I'm not sure. So Mary said, what about Taurus?
Mary, what about Taurus? What about Taurus? It depends. Well, see, the planet Uranus is in the sign of Taurus. So that's another whole story. And so when we have the sun is in the sign of Taurus and Uranus is in the sign of Taurus, that is stirring you guys up. Taurus is a fixed earth sign, and it is asking us to really step up and change our patterns. And again, we would want to look at the specifics, because that might not be happening for years, depending on the number of your sun sign in Taurus, because Uranus is only at 6 degrees right now, and he's been here for a couple of years. So again, more specific, we'd have to look at personal charts for that. Hi, Susan. Yes, Susan, your Saturn is in Capricorn. So is mine. Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It has helped with Saturn in Capricorn when we were born. Hers is a little earlier than mine. I just finished it. And then Saturn transiting there, Jupiter's there. So this is just represents, again, if you are a Capricorn or have planets in there, you figuring out how to step up and be somebody more in authority. If that's part of your world, some people will just say, no, that scares the you know what out of me. I'm not doing that. and refuse responsibility, because again, we have free choice. So yeah, it makes it more personal if you know you have a planet in that sign. So yeah, big years, big year for it, especially. All right.
So if anybody wants to get a private session with Dorothy, which I highly recommend, she has helped me out so much when things just didn't make sense at all. You can go to nhastrologer.com. And you can obviously you can work over Skype or Zoom or whatever works.
Yep. Okay. Yep. I have a conference service I use, and I do, you guys know, most of everybody on here I know, but whoever sees this later, I mean, I do a weekly forecast on YouTube, so you can come find me there. And lots of personal interaction over on Patreon too, but you can find all that stuff on my website. Just leave it there.
Yeah, check out our Patreon page. And
yeah.
There's a lot of information over there.
Yeah.
Definitely a private session is really, really helpful to know how all this energy plays through your chart. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Makes a big
so
difference.
So let me I got a question, because I'm just curious how these things play out. So obviously you were looking at all of this before this all happened, right? So you knew something was coming. You didn't know how it was going to play out. You saw it was going to be restricted, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, what did it look like to you? Like, what did you think it might have been? Even if it wasn't obvious that it was.
I knew that, for years and years, people, I don't have that global view, but seeing Jupiter conjunct Pluto, and that was the big thing. And Saturn, all of these, Saturn conjunct Pluto, and then Jupiter comes in April. I mean, I could see that Pluto is in charge of like deep and major transformation, global stuff. And we knew that. And as astrologers, I say we, not, the person on my shoulder, we've been saying, what I saw is like, I knew there would be major shifts, but I never thought I would see it in something as major. I'm a mutable sign. So, I mean, if something's happening, I just sort of go with the flow, and I go with it and I go with it. So personally, I never thought I would see a major catastrophe like this, because this really is huge. And that is what we could see in a calendar, not in a calendar year, but from December, the end of December till early December 2019 to 2020, we have 7 eclipses. And when there's that many eclipses, usually there's 4. When there's that many eclipses in one year, and we have 3 coming up, we know that there is, going to be a major shift. And for us in the metaphysical world, I mean, we see that we get more and more people coming in, more and more people wanting to learn and find their own soul, their own center. We see that, but I still did not see it that everybody in the world will be impacted by this. I don't have that vision. I don't have that view. But I saw this as a major shift, and I just figured it would just be more people interested in what we're doing here, in, sharing our world, sharing all the metaphysical things that all of us have our own little gifts and that we share with the world. I saw it as that. I saw it as that was a real big shift there. Did not see this as, I had a bad feeling about it just because I didn't like the way things felt, but I can't put my finger on it. My daughter told me last summer, she reminded me of this yesterday. She's really psychic, but she doesn't play any of these games. She doesn't, but she's wicked psychic. And I remember her telling me last summer, she goes, I don't know what it is, Mom. She goes, I just know that there's something happening where we're going to be relying more and more on our electronics, even though we're sick of them, or too many people are like this and not connecting, but we're going to be relying on our electronics more and more, but people are going to be connecting even more without them, but they need it too. She goes, and it's just, I don't know what that means. And I remember her telling me that when she reminded me the other day, and I'm like, oh, this is exactly what's going on, because people are connecting more personally and this way. So she had it. She knew it. Yeah, she did.
Different parts of all these things. We just can't get the full picture,
Yeah, and when we do get the full picture, sometimes it's just too doom and gloom to talk about it because we're surviving it. I mean, we're surviving it. This does not look like any other pandemic we've ever had. I mean, it's just different. And we're talking, I have food, I have lights, water. It's crazy, but it's good too. I'm really happy. Rather be in this plague than the ones in the 1500s or the 1800s, because I know the history of those. That was nasty. But anyways, somebody else says something, Michael.
Oh yeah. So Michael said, I don't have my birth certificate. My mother doesn't remember the time of my birth. Could I still have you do a reading?
Yes, we could still do a reading. It's good to have the birth time because it sets up the dial, what is where, but we can still do it without that information. We can still get lots of other information. Hi, Paula. And Wendy's here too. So yeah, knowing that, back to your question, 2020, looking at it ahead. Yeah, I mean, I really figured it was going to be a big year. And even the planet Uranus in the sign of Taurus, he represents financial, Taurus's finances, and the earth. And Uranus is destroys things or breaks things up or throws a curveball at us to wake us up and get us out of our comfort zone.
Yeah. Well,
so all of and that's happened. And so all of these outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. I didn't even talk about Neptune yet. Neptune is viruses, by the way. Pluto is pandemics. Saturn is going to break down the foundations and the structures you believe you have. Jupiter is going to expand anything, whether it's good or bad, it's going to expand it so you can really see the problems with it. And then Uranus and Taurus is just going to shake things up. So it's going to take a number of years for things to settle back down. Not necessarily in the pandemic that virus has its own path. I don't know what that is, but scientists can tell you. But I know the financial piece, Uranus and Taurus, that's going to take 4 or 5 years before that settles down. But we've been through stuff like this before.
We will survive.
Maybe not this lifetime for most of us, but hey, there's memories in there somewhere. Or talk to our family. Just talk to your parents who were born, your parents or grandparents. Anybody who was born in the 30s will remember that through their parents. So.
Oh, the Spanish flu?
The Spanish flu, the pandemic of 1918. Yeah, that was the Spanish flu, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. World War I. Oh, all of it. Just all of it. It's craziness. So yeah, they were tough cookies.
Definitely not tougher than we are.
I know. I think so too. Well, they all had gardens and they didn't rely on grocery stores like we do. So it was a different world, but that's all right. We're where we're at, and it's all good too. Yeah.
We'll just make our way through.
Mm-hmm.
So again, if anybody would like to book a session with Dorothy, you can go to nhastrologer.com. That's New Hampshire Astrologer.com, or NH for New Hampshire Astrologer.
Mm-hmm. All of them will get you there.
Oh, really? You have both of those?
Well, no, it works out that way. It just shows up.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Google search is good like that.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, this
All
is
right.
very insightful. Good to know.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a quick reading for somebody? Do you want to try that?
I could
Are you
try.
up for it?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, you want to do
Yeah.
that? I'll pull my cards. We'll just do it for one person.
Okay, I got
All
my
right.
chart up.
Okay. But you know what? Just don't come up with like or just give me a reading. Like, is there a question you have? And then we'll focus on that so she can look at any particular area of your chart. And I'll pull some cards at the same time. How's
Yeah,
that?
I'll need birth info so you'll have to make that public. It's up to you.
That's the only caveat. You're gonna have to it's gonna have to be public. We can okay, Wendy, you're the first one.
All right.
Okay,
Wendy, do I have your info? I don't know if I've done a chart for you before.
we'll delete your info right after. Okay. Right after we're done.
No, I don't. I don't have it.
And Michael wants to know how his career is looking for him. Okay, so we need birth information. Okay. So could you just type in, okay, what do you need? How much do you need?
Birth date, time, and place.
Okay. All right. If you're comfortable with that. If you're not, just tell us. We'll move on to somebody else. Okay.
There's the date.
Good.
And what time of day, please?
Good.
All right. And location.
This would be fun.
All right. Where were you born, Wendy? Do. Thank you. Okay. Laura, you go. Laura, all right, real quick.
So what's your question, Wendy?
Gosh, she doesn't even need to ask me a question.
Oh, really? You already know what she's going to ask.
No, I can just tell her what I see is really really important for her.
Oh,
okay. And so let me just give you that, Wendy. I mean, I know we all have questions, but I see that Neptune is conjunct your sun, and what that represents. It's going to be that way for a year. So it's important that you find a way to it's about going deeper in your spirituality, prayer, meditation, but you get detached from reality really easy with this. So you need to find a way to contain or to keep your boundaries with other people so you don't overdo it or they overstep their bounds with you and just get in too far. So you work on staying grounded, work on your boundaries, and practice your meditation. And and have music. And if you can, like get a little personal, like water fountain thingy, even a fish tank that makes the water, when it runs through the filter, it makes that water noise. So all of those things will help you out because Neptune is going to be on your sun for the next year. And and again, so that just means, let me get the date. Yeah, it will be all the way until, and then it retrogrades back. So for the next 2 years, Wendy, it's going to be impacting the sun in your chart. So you need to start taking care of those boundaries, all of that. Okay. That's it in a nutshell. There's always a ton more, but that was like the big one. So kind of hard to tell what's real and foggy. And so.
Does that have anything to do with your question, Wendy? Let us know. I'm really curious. And I'm curious too, because you haven't posted a question yet. I'm going to pull a couple of cards for you. And I'm curious if we're all kind of looking at like, what's our work doing? Where is it going right now? And how is it being affected by all of this? But there's something here about career and new beginnings and figuring out, it's figuring out your direction, what's your focus. So that's what I'm seeing here. I know that's the deal for a lot of people right now, because everybody's been upended with their work schedules and how we work and the way we work, everything in the way that we express ourselves at work is even changing. But there's definitely something about you focusing on what you really, really want to do and getting clear on what that is and letting go of the things that don't make sense anymore. And I know that Dorothy kind of talked about that earlier. So it's very similar. Thank you so hard because I'm moving, don't know where, but house sold. Good. All right. Yeah.
Good.
So yeah, so that might be just focusing on what you can do right now and what's like what you can really work on right now. So that
Yeah,
would
because
make
we do.
sense.
Yeah.
Limbo.
Yep. You'll feel a little lost with that
It's
Neptune.
not bad. It's not a bad thing though. I think
No.
this is actually gonna help you in the long run to
Mhm.
focus on yeah, she said yes. To focus on what you will be doing once you get settled. Okay. So this
Yeah.
is actually gonna do you a favor to really
Yep.
focus on what makes sense to you right now and what you can do and what you're capable of doing in the process of moving. So
Perfect. Yeah.
be
That's
good.
exactly true. Yeah. I like that. And you may even find a place near water,
Ah,
even if it's a small little stream. You may find a place near water. Um, that just feels really good. So, yeah. And so again, for anybody who is, even if you're not focusing on your career, just those cards are great too, Laura. Just speaking of the planets in Capricorn, Jupiter, Saturn will be back there soon, and Pluto. So Capricorn is career, business, entrepreneurial things. And so while all of these planets will be retrograde before the end of the week, it is just about, yes, you can build things. I know Susan asked, yes, you can build things and you can slowly build, but it won't be a massive growth right away. But you'll be able to build things from, really slow, but in a secure way. So don't overextend Jupiter and Capricorn. Just do what you know will help you just towards that next step. So again, whether it's making, whatever you're doing with your business, whether you're consolidating or you're wanting it to expand, or, your career is changing now because of all of these situations and you want it to get a little more education that makes you feel more secure. You're going to find that way again to make those right decisions based off of security, not fear, but security. And those are the most important things.
and I know Michael doesn't have his birth info, but I just pulled a few cards for him.
Okay.
That's about career, I believe. Let me just see. I just wanted to throw that up there for a second. How's career looking for me? Okay. So
Baby steps. Yeah.
yeah. So what I'm seeing here, I'm sorry, I'm getting feedback. I don't have my earbuds in today. What I'm seeing here is feeling like your hands are tied a bit. So, and I feel like that's gonna be like that for a while. And I understand, yes, given the circumstances, a lot of us are feeling that way. Um, but for you especially, even if this pandemic wasn't happening, you would still feel like your hands are a bit tied. All right. The thing that I'm seeing though is there's a lot of room for growth while you're sort of feeling kind of constrict or restricted here. There's still a lot of potential for growth within that restriction around you. So I don't want you to feel like anything that the only things that you can work on right now is not something worthwhile, because there's definitely a lot of expansion around this. So don't think what you're capable of doing right now or what's available to you right now is small. Okay, these are big steps for you. So even if you're kind of restricted in what you can do with that, all right. And also, I'm seeing there's something here about making some plans for things, and it feels like going 2 to 3 years out. So I'm not saying that you need to figure out where your career is going in the next 2 to 3 years, but you're going to start seeing indications of that movement of where this is going, probably by August, going into October, possibly through the rest of the year. You're going to start to see multiple hits of little indications, little signs about where you're going the next 3 years. So keep an eye on that.
Oh, Laura, that's so good.
Did it make sense?
Oh my God, I'm looking at his chart. I found it where he posted it. So
Okay. Does that make sense
even though
with his astrology too?
spot on, it does, because he says spot on. And what I see here is he's a Leo, and even though we don't know where things are, you're an intense Leo too.
That's no doubt. No doubt. I got this card. That's a Leo.
Oh, is it? Oh my God.
I should have known.
The transit of Uranus and the things I'm looking at are not based off of your birth time, just the whole day. The transit of Uranus is making a square to the sun in your chart, and and then in another 1.5 to 2 years, it will connect with Mercury. What that means is there'll be unexpected moments of clarity and freedom, because these fixed energies where they are in the sky to your stuff, it will say, all right, Michael, you've had enough of this. Boom, here's that. Now work with that. And then so you get this expansion, and then you kind of have to settle with it for a while. That's the planets retrograding where we're at now, and then going forward again. So it's going to take, I think it's going to take a couple of years for it to get beyond. I'm going to advance the chart so I can see. It'll take to 2022 for Uranus to advance beyond the sun and Mercury in your chart. So that means over these next couple of years, you do have the opportunity to really dig in and go through and shake things off, whatever, because stuff isn't working. When Uranus is connecting to our charts in personal ways, just like I already explained globally, it is a wake-up call. And that doesn't mean you're wrong in anything, but the spirit, the soul says, gosh, I really want to learn this. He's kind of waiting. So now so it's like, let's go. And it gives us these big opportunities to learn quick, fast, hard and fast. And then, because that's the only way, it's like taking the Band-Aid off one little hair at a time. And you're like, it's a grip.
Ow.
It helps. Good. Awesome, Michael.
Oh, that's great. How exciting. 2022. Here I come. Michael.
I like all the twos, man.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. A year of change for sure for everybody. So we'll be fine through it. Yeah. And we'll have a little personal things here and there, but that stuff happens anyways. So
yep.
Find your bubble and stay safe and do what's good for you.
Oh, thanks, Jerry.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jerry.
I know. Hi, Jerry. I miss you, Jerry.
Yes, miss you. Yeah, definitely miss you.
I think I miss a lot of people. I want a hug.
I know. Yes, Dorothy. As soon as I see, I'm going to give you the biggest hug.
I've been hugging trees. I'm not alone.
Oh, I know. I miss all the hugs.
It is.
That was a quick hour. So
yes.
We're wrap up. But again, if anybody would like to contact Dorothy, I can't imagine why you wouldn't. Go to nhastrologer.com and book a session with her. And she also has a Patreon page that you can check out and a YouTube channel. But if you really want to know what your chart looks like through all of these crazy eclipses and not eclipses. No,
eclipses are coming up. These are all retrogrades, but the eclipses. So go sign up for YouTube. That's free subscription.
Yeah. But if you really want to know what your chart looks like, talk to Dorothy, and she's amazing. Yeah. She'll tell you a whole bunch of good stuff. So
awesome.
Thank you. This was so much fun. I missed this. I really miss doing this more often. We used to do this every week.
I know. We did. It was good. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you again soon, okay? All right, have a good one. Be well. Take care. Bye.
See you later.